Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I wanted to talk about the sort of infiltration of technology into overlanding. And what I mean by that is, is Starlink ruining getting away for us? Are we actually disconnecting, or are we just switching screens, right? Are we switching from a TV screen to our phone screen on Starlink? So I want to dive into that a little bit and talk about it, because there's a lot of negativity about it online. There's a lot of people in Facebook groups and things like that that are constantly like, you don't need a Starlink, it ruins the whole experience, the whole point is to get away. Those are the same people, by the way, that are always saying, overlanding is just car camping, I was doing this when I was a kid in the 70s. But I mean, really what that is just negativity, right? So again, I want to dive into this a little bit, talk about it, the pros and cons of being able to be more connected thanks to things like Starlink, LTE, Wii Boosts, that kind of thing. But then also kind of my thoughts on what I think it's changing about the way that we overland and camp and get away. So if you want to hear more about this topic, hopefully it's interesting to you, stay tuned and we'll dive into it.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you gave to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm talking about Starlink, and is it ruining overlanding, and are we just switching screens from our home screen to like a portable iPad screen or phone screen? I'm going to kind of give my thoughts on this topic, but of course, if you're on YouTube, there's comments down below. If you're on Spotify, there's comments down below. If you're on any other podcast thing, hop over to my social channels. There will be links in the description below, and join the conversation over there. But let's talk a little bit about what this all means, right? So I have my Starlink here with me right now, and I actually have decent LTE service where I'm at in Hoosier National Forest. On one hand, I will say being able to be connected can be a little bit annoying and definitely lessens the experience. For example, I've gotten some messages and stuff today. I've gotten some texts. I got a stupid scam text earlier that was like, your toll violations are out of control and we got to get you done or we're going to sue you, kind of a thing. And that came through while I was out here in the woods, which I just deleted and reported as junk, right? Not a big deal, but still kind of the point is to get out here and disconnect. Now you could do that. You could turn off your phone. So that's one thing too, is what I think about the whole technology thing infiltrating overlanding is it's a net positive for everything, right? If you have a family like I do and you want to be able to get connected if you need to, that's literally the whole reason that I bought my Wii Boost. I'm not going to go through that whole story again because I've told it on multiple episodes, but basically my dog ate a pill. My wife tried to call me and I could not get reception. So I bought this Wii Boost to help me get better reception, to have a better chance to be able to connect to her. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're one of those people that's like, you don't need the internet, you're trying to get away, don't buy a Wii Boost, don't buy a Starlink, right? Turn your phone off when you go out into the wilderness. It's your own option. The fact that these things are available doesn't lessen the experience of overlanding. It doesn't make it a bad thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it, right? That I think is the lesson of the world right now, is just that everybody wants to have these opinions. And nowadays, everybody thinks that their opinion is just as valid as everyone else's, myself included, right? You guys might be listening to this and going, this guy's an idiot. And that's totally fine. If you don't like it, turn the channel, turn it off, right? This is free for everyone. But I'm giving my opinions here, and they may or may not be right. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they're just my opinions, right? And but nowadays people, I think, just want to fight. They just want to be right. Everything seems to be like split into two. There's a right and a wrong, and that's it. There's no gray area anymore. There's no middle ground. And that has kind of found its way into overlanding and overlanding chat groups and this technology discussion, right? But my opinion, again, is I think the Wii Boost is a great tool if you want to have a little bit better chance of having better signal so that you could stay connected to your significant other back home. If you wanted to be able to talk to your kids in the night to say, hey, good night, I'm going to bed. And again, if you don't need it, don't get it. That's fine. As far as the Starlink goes, that's where, for me, it gets a little bit weird. So I will say, when I go out with my buddies, they both have Starlinks and I have a Starlink. So one or two of us turns ours on, and then basically our whole camp becomes a Wi-Fi hotspot, right? So we are out here in the middle of nowhere. We've got these connections. So on one hand, what that can do if you're not careful, and again, it's all up to you. It's all in your head. It's in your mind. You have control over it. Is it can become 3 of you sitting around in chairs staring at your phones and watching funny videos, right? It can become where rather than being out here enjoying this time together, building camaraderie, spending time together, it just becomes us sitting around like we do at home on our phones watching Instagram reels. So you have to be careful and you have to be conscious about that and intentional with how you use that technology. I will say there are most of the times when we are hanging out, what the Starlink does for us is it allows us to share those funny things, right? So like somebody has their phone and they will put a funny AI generated music on the radio or something on the Bluetooth speaker. And we'll laugh about like a, R&B version of an old 90s rap song that we all like. Or there's a funny video or a funny comedian or something. Sometimes we'll just put on comedy channels, which I think those are kind of fun. And we'll all sit around with our phones down, right? But then on the Bluetooth speaker, maybe in our group, our camp, we're listening to a comedian and we're all kind of laughing and enjoying it together. So it's, you get to the camaraderie, you get to sit around a fire pit, you get to enjoy being out in nature and with your buddies, but it's like being at a comedy show at the same time. So you get the benefits of everything. So again, you may say, well, that's not overlanding, that's not camping. And, it's definitely not, it's less overlanding and more camping and hanging out, I think. But I don't think that it's inherently bad. I don't think that it's just, we should turn off all the technology and turn everything away because, it ruins the experience. Again, different people have different needs and different things that they want to do when they go out into the woods or people that they need to keep track of. I will say, I recently got these POC-Link radios. There's one that I've had for a little while that's one that uses the LTE towers and then GMRS or FRS signals. So you can talk to people locally, but then you can also talk via the LTE to like someone in another state, in another country. Those have been kind of a big game changer for me. I've got some that I brought out actually on this trip, and I used it to talk to my wife today. So like, again, instead of having to try and get a cell signal to go through for my phone, I could hop on the Starlink and use my little radio, and you can chat through the Wi-Fi. It's a Wi-Fi and LTE radio, and it auto switches between the two. So like that kind of technology, again, I'm sure someone's going to post up and be like, you don't need that. If you needed that, you blah, blah, blah. The point is to get away. Why you got to talk to people? I have a wife, I have kids, I have pets, right? I want to make sure that everybody's okay. If they need something, if they needed me to come home where I'm out here by myself enjoying and relaxing, I want them to be able to get a hold of me. I'm not that selfish that I'm like, you don't talk to me and I'm on my own out here. And if something happens, I hope they don't die. And I guess I'll find out when I get back, right? At the same time, I'm not just sitting here with everything turned on. I don't have a big screen TV. I don't have a projector running or anything like that. I'm just enjoying sitting by a fire right now. It's a little chilly out, so the fire feels really, really good. I'm going to read a book after I get done shooting this episode of the podcast and just sort of sit and relax, right? And just be in nature where it's quiet and be away from, the grind of every day, be away from work, be away from, kids arguing, be away from all the bings and dings and the Ring doorbell going off and deliveries and, all that stuff. So it's just really, really nice to be able to get away. But if you want the technology, if you want the ability to connect, then you should be able to have it. Not everything, though, has to do with technology to connect, right? So I mentioned those radios, although they are kind of to connect, that's a nicety. But there's also a lot of technology that has especially come to overlanding that has allowed us to extend our trips. It's allowed us to get out further. My new truck is a good example of this, my 2023 Frontier. I've had old Nissan trucks before, which are great trucks, bulletproof trucks, really reliable, very capable off-road, but they're pretty basic, right? From a comfort standpoint, from a long trip enjoyment standpoint, right? Not saying you have to have all this crazy stuff, but having the ability to listen to your music, having the ability to navigate right from your dash via a connection wirelessly to your phone is nice. My new truck has these things called zero gravity seats in it. They've improved stuff over the years, right? So when I took this truck to Wyoming, I tell you what, I've never been more comfortable than I was spending 12 hours behind the wheel. And if you have an uncomfortable, old, beat-up truck, it's a different experience. It's fun in its own ways, but it's different from being in a newer truck that has better seats, better technology, maybe heated seats, heated steering wheel. My truck has remote start. So tomorrow morning, it's going to be 31 degrees when I wake up. From the tent, I can remote start my truck, get it all warmed up, have my heated seats and my heated steering wheel running, And again, I know a lot of you may say, well, that's just bougie stuff. You don't need that. If you're really tough, you wouldn't have that stuff. And look, I've toughed it out before. My old trucks were basic trucks that were junky and rusty and junky, right? But I will say, maybe it's my age. I'm getting a little bit older. I've been doing this YouTube thing for like 7 years now. And this podcast thing for like 7 years. Maybe it's just me getting older, but I also just think it's me getting smarter, right? Like there's no reason not to be comfortable. There's no reason when the technology is there, I don't want the truck to get so complex that I can't work on it or do anything. That's why I really like the Frontier a lot. Naturally aspirated V6, tried and true powertrain that's been out for 6 years now, 7 years in this truck. And while it has some of the nice new technology, like those seats, like the wireless CarPlay, heated steering wheel, heated cloth seats, it's still largely very similar to the old trucks. Still body on frame, still just a nice basic truck. Now, it does have some of the sensor stuff, which can be annoying, the adaptive cruise stuff and the rear backup sensors and things. But I mean, largely, it is a new truck with a lot of new truck technology that is still based very closely on the second-gen Frontier. So I just think it's a great option. It's like me, right? It's still old, but it's improved a little bit. But so I think that is a really interesting case to be made because, when you want to go overlanding, you want to have heat, right? I mean, I've had vehicles that the heat didn't work. I've had vehicles that the AC didn't work. I'm so used to vehicles that either have really piss poor AC, like my old Jeep Cherokee XJ. The AC never worked in that thing. So I barely ever use it. I roll my windows down in 100-degree temps because I'm just used to not having AC. But having that stuff, it makes it so that you can get out further. It makes it so that you can extend your trip. You can be more comfortable. If you're more comfortable, you can drive farther in a day. And you're not like just miserable after 4 hours of driving on the road and you have to make your trip less fun because you can't go as far. So again, similar to the idea of the technology, it can be poo-pooed on by people for sure. It's the same with new vehicles. People are like, you should have got a 2012 Frontier and just modified that. It would cost half as much. Sure. Different truck, right? Different needs, different things. I like the new truck because of the reliability, because it's brand new. I know the whole history of the truck. I've made all the modifications to the truck, and that new technology just makes my trips so much more comfortable and so much more fun. Now, the same can be said for, a number of tools that we use for overlanding. And the one that sticks out to me the most is, power and solar have come so far in the last 3 to 5 years. Like when I first started building my, 2 trucks ago, a 100 amp hour LiFePO 4 battery was like $300. Now they're like $150 to $180 for a 100 amp hour LiFePO 4 battery. I actually went with AGM batteries initially because they were a cheaper alternative, even though they're heavier and not as useful as a LiFePO 4. Back 5 years ago, LiFePO 4 batteries were crazy expensive. Solar technology was very old school. It was very antiquated. Now you've got, all this different solar technology, the SIGS technology, the whatever it is, 16NNBB, I forget what the heck it's called, a bunch of letters and numbers, better solar panels that take better advantage of the sun. They can put more power into your power banks. Your capacity's gone up because power is cheaper now. And again, a lot of people would say, well, you don't need 600 amp hours of power and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, you don't need it. But at the same time, if it's there and it's cheap and it's available, why not be able to charge my laptop and charge my chainsaw batteries and charge my drone batteries and run AC stuff if I want to and use my Stoke Voltaics electric frying pan? Why not be able to use that technology if it exists, right? And again, it's getting cheaper and cheaper. It's helping us be able to get out more. It helps me keep my dual battery topped off because my solar is getting more and more efficient. On my new camper, I've got an even more efficient solar panel that's going to be going on that. So, I mean, there's just no reason to be upset about technology improving and things getting better when it can make your trips better and make you able to have more fun and get out more, in my opinion. But of course, what do you guys think? If you are watching on YouTube or if you're on Spotify, there's comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys, your thoughts on this whole thing. And I'm sure I'll get some people that are, haters of technology, but I'd love to hear from all of you down below. Also, as always, in the description will be links to all my social channels, as I mentioned. There's a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding, camping-themed patches and stickers. Things like Don't Burn Your Wiener and It's a Hot Dog or I Hate People So I Camp. So if you're into patches and stickers, like decorating your rig, definitely check those out. Now, if you're on YouTube only, there's a join button below this video. And that is a way to passively support the channel, but also get you early access to the podcast, to all the videos that I do. So if that sounds good, check that out. But regardless of where you're listening or watching, there's also a link to the Patreon group, which is a ton of fun. We've got so many guys in there now. We do a 24/7 Discord. We hang out on a Zoom call once a month, and then we're doing a couple in-person trips per year. So if that sounds good, definitely consider supporting the channel through the Patreon. And then last but not least, there is a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Now, this group is totally free to join, over 30,000 people at the time I'm recording this, and it's just different from the big groups. We don't allow bullying and that sort of thing, so it's a much cleaner, more interesting experience, I think, than the bigger groups. So if you're new to overlanding or you want to help people that are new to overlanding, definitely consider checking that out. We'd love to have you. But again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.